The town may be kind of small, but these folks have big smiles and big hearts, and they know what it is to have simple fun down our way, where old-fashioned singing and homey gatherings make living mighty pleasant.
Yeah, it was our first show in Boston. But
I saw the pictures, yes.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a very Boston experience. As soon as I got there, I got a parking ticket. And I got in a fight with someone on the street. So,
was it a physical fight or just a verbal?
No, just somebody just yelling for no reason. So, I felt welcomed.
Hey, trolling.
Welcome to Abandoned Albums, the documentary podcast where we take a closer look at some albums that may have been forgotten about over time, some albums you might not even know existed, and some albums by up-and-coming artists we think you should know about. I'm your host, Keith R. Higgins, and joining me once again, the incomparable Mr. Geoff Calhoun.
Oonts, 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 oonts.
The paper doesn't give many details. Tell me about this.
On this episode of Abandoned Albums, we talk with Tierney Tough, the frontwoman of the Florida-based band The Pauses.
I love this band. Self-described as a beep boop band from Mickeytown, USA. I was exposed to them when they came through my hometown and went to the show and came away going, how long has this band existed? How long has this treasure existed in the world, and I didn't know about it. And it turns out quite a while. They've been around for almost a decade. They are angular indie pop, but there's almost a post-rock, like prog rock element to the guitars and the rhythm section. I don't know. It's difficult to pin down. When you get a hold of a band that you enjoy, but you can't explain in just a couple sentences exactly why, there's a richness there, and I'm can't wait to explore that richness and talk specifically because there's one album in the Pauses catalog called Unbuilding that I can't get enough of it. I listen to it over and over and over again. It's in steady rotation after years of being a fan of the band. It's still in steady rotation, so I'm so excited that we get to welcome Tierney to the podcast and talk about the Pauses.
Here's our conversation with Tierney. So I'm going to ask you a very basic question.
Okay.
For the uninitiated, how would you describe bebop rock?
Bebop is different than
I know, entirely different.
It's just, it's just a cutesy way of saying electronic music.
The image I get in my head is going up to a dog and going, well, I can do it right now if I want.
Oh, yeah. Like a booping a nose. Yeah. You could do that. You could be boop a nose. It's really however you want to interpret it. It's always such a weird thing to have to classify your music and explain it. So, with us, we just like to make it funny.
It works. It's very playful.
Yeah. Playful is a good word. Yeah.
You hear that whimsy, I think, in the music.
Yeah. We don't take ourselves too seriously. And then we do sometimes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but on both of the full lengths, you worked with J Robbins on both or just the one?
Yeah, he produced both.
Okay. I feel like it was a very natural evolution for the Pauses as a band. But if you listen to the records back to back, even though there's a number of years in between them, but I gotta tell you, it's not a record that I would say sounds like a J Robbins record.
Both of the records?
Yeah,
I think it's a little out of the realm in a way. I think it's still under like the blanket genre he typically
for sure
will take on. But if you know Jay, he's into so many different styles of music, and that's one of the reasons why I love working with him, because he does love all that experimental stuff, and he really loves a lot of pop music too. And I remember finding out one of his favorite bands was Oasis. And it really just shocked me because I think I'd walked in on him listening to Oasis. And I'm like, what? I love Oasis, but I didn't think you loved Oasis.
Question to the Prime Minister, Mr. Michael Shersby.
How can the Prime Minister support a law that makes it illegal for people who... What I'm trying to say is... Oasis rules!
Mr. Shersby, you've been warned 7 times this month to stop bringing up Oasis.
But is not Oasis the greatest British band since the Beatles? Can we not vote on this?
Enough! No vote will be taken on the subject of Oasis.
I love that about him. He has like a sweet spot, for pop stuff. So it works really well for us to kind of combine those two worlds.
It's in spite of it not sounding like I might picture something coming from him would sound. To me, it's a hi-fi record. I think they're both great sounding records. Like, nice work, Jay, on the production elements. I mean, they sound dynamite.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We try, the audio quality is definitely important to us. And I'd like to think, we'd like to think that these are like headphone records,
Yeah.
There's a lot of ear candy and detail and you hopefully new things you discover. Some of my favorite records are the ones that you can put on and hear something new each time. And, that's definitely an important factor for us.
But I want to start with the album title itself, Unbuilding, which I have read a little bit about the backstory, and I'd like to hear it from you. There's an inspiration behind the name, and kind of, it's not a concept record, but there's kind of an idea to it.
It's loosely themed, I guess. There's like a loose architecture theme and design, which for me, part of my backstory is having a heavy interest in all that stuff, and at one point considering doing that seriously when I gave up on music a long time ago, and tried it and then realized I can't give up on music. It's too close to my heart. So yeah, the name comes from this book called Unbuilding, and it's this guy, he's an architect named David McAuley, and he just has these beautiful, like, oversized books that are like just like sketches. And this book is about, this is so nerdy.
You're amongst friends.
Yeah, we're here for the nerdy.
Yeah, I actually found his books in a thrift store a long, long time ago, and I just had held on to them because the drawings really were so captivating. And basically, it's this fictional story about this prince. I think he's from Egypt, maybe, but he comes to New York City, and he basically wants to buy the Empire State Building and have it deconstructed and moved to where he is. So this whole book, like, there's a story, about this, and then it also shows like the deconstruction and like actual architectural drawings throughout the book and how they would actually do that, and which I thought was really cool. So I just love that idea and that concept of, like, I don't know, wanting to like destroy something and then put it back together. So and I just love the name.
Very cool. Speaking of architecture, there was a Brutalism exhibition over at the Yale University School of Architecture that I went to a couple weeks ago. That was pretty cool. That's
cool.
Yeah.
I went to a Brutalism exhibit at the Orlando Downtown Public Library. It's a Brutalist building, and they had one about that building, which has been there for a long time.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. I get really nerdy on that stuff, and like all the mid-century architecture and design, and so there's like, and this is even, God, this is so nerdy. There's a couple songs on that record that are references to Charles and Ray Eames. I love their designs and things that they came up with. And I highly recommend watching the documentary, The Architect and the Painter, which is about them. And it's basically a love story about this power couple that work together, and so one of the songs is about that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You and Jason both. Jason is the guitar player from the Pauses.
Mm-hmm.
You and Jason both strike me as the type of folks that would hit a thrift store hoping to find some musical gadget or contraption or obscure piece of gear that you can somehow work into the sound in an ongoing effort to keep things fresh and new and different and weird.
Yeah, I don't think we're like intentionally trying to be weird. I think it's just organic. There's an organic weirdness to what we do. I think I don't know that we would, I definitely, you can see this is my little music room. I have an assortment of thrift store instruments and weird stuff. I have this melodica I've been playing with. And then I just got this little Zoom H2N. It's like a little field recorder thing. So I've been kind of playing with that to make like beats and stuff. But, we and he's he definitely has a lot of that stuff too. He's more of like the digital thrift store, finding weird stuff online. One of the songs on this record, the Google, like the daily Google, I don't know what they're called. In the search engine, it'll change, like it's a different theme. There was one day, there was a Clara Rockmore Google theme, and she's like the famous theremin player. So you could play, the theremin on the Google search engine, and Jason actually used that and recorded it for one of the songs. So I think, I think resourceful maybe is the word. But yeah,
like
trying to find, unique sounds for sure, and taking pre-existing elements and kind of messing them up in a way and affecting them in a different way. And I started to play more with like vocal effects for this record, and which I'm getting more into now. So yeah, just kind of like slightly altering something, I think is maybe our forte.
One of the things that you occupied yourself with while everybody was locked down was you published a couple covers. One of them was a pretty incredible Breeders cover, I thought. Is that something that you are mixing into the set?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Breeders songs. Probably my all-time favorite Breeders songs, called Off You. And we did that because we did a Breeders cover set at the Fest several years ago, and that one was always a really fun one. And I thought we should record this because we do we kind of put a spin on it, because the normal one is like quiet, So we did like a rockin' version of it, and I just loved how it came out. So we recorded it. And then we did a split with The Good Life, who had a Breeders cover song. So we just put those two together and put it out on a 7-inch. So that's why that happened.
I've laid this silence on 1,000 times. I'm on it, but I'm going strange. This silence chills and shell cover me. Winded rock and skies I've yet to see. I tried, I even sent in friends. They
were doing these like when the pandemic happened and everyone's like, stuck at home and like filming themselves with their phones and stuff. We're like, let's do like a crazy live, video of covers where we are all individually recording ourselves and like, make it a little bit more, I don't know, interesting than just watching someone play in their living room. So we did a couple covers for that just to like keep ourselves kind of sane and have like something to look forward to. We've done several cover shows in the past, so we kind of just had this, group of songs already in our noggins.
Before I move on, did you go into that relationship with a favorite Jawbox song?
I mean, we were just super fans. Favorite Jawbox song. I mean, there's so many. It's hard to pick one. Let's see. I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, my favorite's probably Cooling Card. I really love the bass line on that song, which Kim, just is so, she just kills. But it's hard to say. I mean, we love them so much. So
I think they, and maybe post rock, post punk, I don't know what label we're going to slap on it, but something Jawbox does really, really well is they'll give your ear an expectation. They'll set a groove, and then whether it's with the guitar or the bass or the percussion or all three, they're going to do something in the song structurally to kind of put your ear on tilt. You go, oh, sure. I didn't quite expect that. And I think you guys really excel with that. Jason with the guitars, certainly. But you guys are really successful with that electronically. Oh,
thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that's a compliment for sure. I agree. I agree. We're proud of that. Jason, that's mostly his world. And he's just so gifted in that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to talk about a specific song on the record, which is Digital Detox.
Okay.
I read that you and Jason kind of workshopped that originally as like a jingle.
As a composer, you're constantly coming up with little snippets of music to submit, and some of it sometimes doesn't make the cut. So he'd had this little piece lying around. It wasn't even a full song. It was just like maybe one riff or something. And I just I'd heard it and I was like, oh, that's so catchy. Like, that would be so fun to work on. I think he was like resistant because it was like too sugary for him.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, when you're making commercial music, it's like gotta be, they're like, make it sound like M83, you know, and do those whatever. So I think he had associated it with being, you know, sugary. So it was kind of a struggle. I was like, no, it's really fun. Like, let's keep working on that. And then that, of course, ended up being the single. if people still do singles, you know. So yeah, that's a fun one. And I really love that bridge section where it sounds like a video game. Like he kind of like purposely made it sound like you were getting trapped in an electronic or a video game. And I love that. Yeah, so we're really good at that. Like I'll kind of come up with like a topic, and then he's really good at you know, making an accompanying musical piece that is usually themed. So that one I think is kind of a perfect example of that teamwork.
Would you explain to Keith what chip tune is?
Well, let's be honest here. It's not just Keith; it's our listeners as well.
Yeah, we've been called that before. I don't necessarily consider that. I mean, I think it probably has. I know there's a genre of chiptune which is like, it's like 8-bit sounding music. You know, kind of like old school video game style sounds. Like, you know, very. Well, I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to get too specific. It's retro, like, you know, old school synth sounds and stuff. And I think we do have elements of that. Yeah.
Some.
Yeah.
I read it in a write-up of the record. Yeah. And I thought, okay, like I see some of that video game element, but it's not. When we say chiptune, I think chiptune bands are the ones that are like hacking Game Boys to perform with on stage, and like
that's what I think too.
A core element of the band. It's more of a flavor that's mixed in with the rock and roll with you guys. I
think it's just a lazy term people associate with us because they don't know like how to describe what we do. But I think that's just like, sometimes journalism is like that, you know, like it can be lazy.
Sure.
So, I mean, but I'm not offended by that. I think chiptune is cool. I think there's definitely some elements and sounds that could be associated with that and that retro style for sure.
Could we take that one step further where if there's chiptune, it stands to reason there could be chipcore?
Oh dear.
I would
Let's make that happen, Tierney. Let's make it.
I mean, are we talking about food or music? Because
I was thinking
might
music.
Be more into the food,
right?
The food gang.
They have this new campaign, you know, Henderson Valley eggs. You're gonna love our eggs. Yeah, this ain't your daddy's egg. Dad skateboard. Finally, an egg for my generation. You know, they have these bending guitar notes, and then they intercut it with like a quiet, like granny on a rocking chair, you know, sitting. They go, "I like eggs the old-fashioned way." Fuck you, Granny! Henderson Valley egg. You're gonna love our eggs.
It's why the band is interesting. Is you can't pin it down into one bucket. I mean, just to watch you perform, you're moving from the keyboard to the bass. You know, you're the vocalist, but there's more than just keyboards, bass, guitars going on. I mean, you've got some sampling techniques. You've got a lot of stuff that's performed to a click, obviously, by the way the whole band is syncopated. And then there's like some cool light elements on stage. I mean, it's a whole like visual and audio experience to see the pauses live.
Yeah, we definitely try to make it a, you know, whole package deal. We do have a light show that is synced to the music. Jason built out this, like, it's beautiful. You know, each instrument, bass, vocal, the drummer has a light in his kick drum, and then guitar has its own individual light, and the light syncs up with each individual part. And this has been pre-built. It's like a MIDI synced light show, and then the drummers kind of controlling that along with the tempo that we're all on. So it's all synced to the music. And yeah, so there's, the drummer is also triggering samples on his rolling pad, and then Jason's playing electronics along with that.
It comes together really impressive. It's very cool.
Oh, thanks so much.
You'll have to forgive my ignorance. Does that allow for a lot of improvisation?
No, well, in like with the guitars and like the vocals, I think we just naturally do that. Like, I know Jason and I, we definitely change things up. Like he'll play like a different guitar line. Like, oh, that was cool. Like, I think we both like to have fun with it, but some of this stuff is hard to change because it's, set up already a certain way. So, but yeah, we do kind of play around with other stuff. I'll change a vocal line or whatever, just to keep it fun.
In promoting the record, you got to do some pretty cool YouTube channel, radio station type of performances. You did Day Trotter with Paste.
Mm-hmm.
You had a really cool Toast and Jam session. And then you had the performance on Audio Tree that you can stream a lot of places. All three seemed like they were very cool experiences.
Yeah. That's always fun and nerve-wracking. I was so impressed with the Audio Tree experience because all of that stuff is done live and so fast. You have like 10 people working and getting this thing together, and then it's just live, and it sounds and looks incredible. So that was a really cool experience. I was really happy with how that came out too. Yeah, that stuff's so fun to do. For me, it is a little bit nerve-wracking because you're live and it has to be, good. But it's exciting. Yeah.
Pressure to perform well.
Yeah.
That Audio Tree session, I don't know if you can see behind me or not. I'm going to try and block out the bright light. Behind me are 3 prints from The Bird Machine.
Oh, yeah.
In your Audio Tree session, you brought out for the song Had/Have a little cameo from Jay Ryan of Dianoga and The Bird Machine, an incredible designer and print silkscreen printer and musician in and of his own right. How did you hook up with Jay?
That's so cool. Yeah, I love Jay. So he's one of my all-time favorite bass players. Like I could say, Dianoga is definitely like an influence for me with bass playing. How did we meet Jay? I think probably through the guy who did our album cover art, Dan Black, who has a printing company called Landland. He's from Chicago area. I don't think he's there anymore, but I would say probably through him and just mutual friends. And I think we got to know Jay through him better. And I just asked him, so I was like, oh, you know what it was? I just remembered. I met him through Dan Black at South by Southwest because I used to go there sometimes. And I went to Flatstock, which is the print convention they have there. And I had been such a long time fan. I was like, I gotta go meet Jay Ryan. I'm just going to go. And I was on tour, I think. And I went to see him and met him. He was super cool. We took a picture and he's like, let's spin around. So I have this picture of us like spinning around and in motion, and it's pretty funny. And I think he just kept in touch, and I just asked him if he wanted to come and play on the Audio Tree with us. That was pretty special for me. I was I am a big fan.
Yeah. What a neat experience.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You have moved from Orlando to Gainesville.
Uh-huh.
You at one point were described as an ambassador for the Orlando scene.
I was?
You were, which is to me quite a compliment.
It's a lot of pressure.
I know, right? Do you still consider the Pauses an Orlando band?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, everyone else is in there, Orlando, and that's where we rehearse. And I still go to Orlando a lot. So yeah, I think so.
You're still an ambassador, you think?
I I really don't want to be one.
I won't force it on you then.
Okay.
Usually when I look at least what is public facing as far as metrics, if there's a song that has, 5 to 10 times the number of streams as the rest of an album, it's because, that was, on the movie soundtrack, or that one, was on the Gilmore Girls episode or something like that. Digital Detox was the single, but as far as what we can see, the by far and away most popular song from the album was the best for the most for the least. Was there a Gilmore Girls soundtrack moment for that song that propelled it to that success?
I wish. That would be amazing. No, actually, I think it's because of the Audio Tree. That was the most popular Audio Tree song. And then what happens is like someone will add it to a playlist, and then it'll just kind of like keep spreading, like that. And I think and it's just still like being added to playlists all the time. So I think that's why.
It's a wonderful, interesting, and spiraling pop tune. It's one of my favorite things.
It's weird to me because it's probably the most epic song on that record. Mm-hmm. It is weird that that's the most, quote unquote popular song off that record. It's one of my favorites to play. So I'm glad other people appreciate it.
Digital Detox and Best for the Most for the Least. And I'll throw a third one in there. Eventually Everything Connects. Mm-hmm. If I was running the record label and listening to this album saying, well, what are we going to push? Those would be the 3 that I would think would be the easiest access.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the song The Means. I find that song interesting in that it's a little bit of a change of pace from the rest of the record. I still find some tones in there that make me think I could find myself in a particular level of a video game. I mean, it's consistent with the vibe of the rest of the record, but The Means is kind of its own thing as far as a songwriter. Tell me about that tune.
It's definitely the darkest record or song on that record, I think. At least lyrically, I think. Maybe tonally too. That it's funny because that's one of the oldest songs that was written, or one of the earliest songs that was written for that record. I think, it was years old, and I had not done anything with it, and then kind of brought it out and we finished it. So it is kind of I don't want to say a sore thumb, but like a little bit different from the rest of the record. But I think that's also kind of cool, and I think that's part of what we do too, is like we're a little all over the place.
I've always wondered what it would be like with the same
I love how that song establishes itself and its tempo. And then by the end of the song, it really works itself into this terrific crescendo.
Yeah.
Like this big energetic crescendo that you're like, okay, I didn't see that coming out of the song at all, but I love where it went.
Yeah, and I think that's the idea too, the shock factor. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I think someone said it sounded like Portishead and then like metal.
Yeah.
That's a fun one too, because I'm remembering now I got Jay to sing on that one. And I really wanted this male voice. And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, please. And then he did.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And he sounds great on it.
Who else is informing the pauses?
Personally, my biggest influences are like Harry Nilsson. I'm a huge fan. Bjork, I love Bjork. Built to Spill is a big one. Cat Power. You can just go down the list. Susie and the Banshees is a big one. Fiona Apple. And then, of course, like Jawbox and a lot of heavier stuff. We all love this band called Autolux. It's like Failure members. And
will we ever do a podcast episode that the band Failure is not mentioned on, Keith?
Oh no, sorry.
It does not seem that way.
Sorry.
They are circling our orbits like Greg Edwards, Kelly,
Yeah.
Kelly Scott, Ken Andrews, every episode.
Oh man. Well, they should sponsor your podcast then.
They should, or come on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Both would be ideal, but I'll take one or the other. Yeah.
Last song I want to talk about specifically off that record, and then I promise I'll leave you alone to talk about other stuff.
Okay.
The beginnings of things. Let me inside of your head on writing the beginnings of things, and because I think it's one of the most lyrically interesting songs on the record.
Sometimes I don't know why something happens. Sometimes I just live in this abstract world where things just come out, and maybe later on I figure out why. And then maybe sometimes I don't know why and know in the moment. I think that's one of those mysterious ones. Maybe I was just like, generally speaking, of how things are exciting in the beginning, and not so exciting later. I don't know. It is a little cryptic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I like to be a little cryptic sometimes, though.
Once again, I found a way to make this into another salient sense of you. My eyes, ears, mouth had all gone numb for you, my dear. But all you see is what you know. Raise the beast and don't let go. Honestly, I don't know about living. I don't know. Do this, say that, watch this, pay that, crave this, crave, and I'm digging and 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 digging until my head explodes.
You followed the album up with the pauses. You've put an EP out under as a solo project under the Tierney Tough name.
Oh, yeah, I have one EP. Came out last year. Mm-hmm.
Is that indicative of what's next for you? Are you going to pursue both solo and the band, or are you going to focus on one over the other? What's next for you?
Yeah, I'm still working on solo stuff. Yeah, I have another EP ready to go pretty much. I just have to record it. Finish record. I started a little bit, but have that. And then the band is pretty heavily involved in our next record. So we've been working a lot on that. And it's taken a little bit of some time. We like to take our time with things and make sure it's good. And that I think also it's been kind of a big discovery process, at least for me, content wise. So there's been some learning to do, and yeah, it's hard to say without going into it, but it'll be a little bit more like, I don't want to say conceptual, but a little bit more leaning heavier on the themes. So it's been more involved for me personally.
Okay.
So yeah, we're excited about that. We've been working pretty hard on finishing writing for that.
When you're not doing the pauses, what are you doing to keep yourself busy? I know, and I do want to plug the drummer for the group, Nathan, has a really cool website, flickchart.com. It's a movie review website that, I love talking about movies. So,
oh yeah, that's been a big thing for me. I mean, we're all pretty much movie buffs, and we talk a lot about movies. His website is a rating website. It's really fun, and you can lose time on it. Actually, Quentin Tarantino talked about it recently, which is pretty cool.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Last year, you guys got paired with, you did some dates with Mock Orange.
Mock Orange is one of my favorites. I probably listened to them, I don't know. There's something about their music, like I can work to it, like it's like really great motivational music, I guess. It's because it's so fun and mathy and catchy and melodic. So getting to play with them was pretty cool. We just played with this band Sloth Rust. They're really fun. Yeah, we did. We hadn't toured in 2 years, so this year was our first time back touring, and we got to do two really fun tours. I just feel so lucky that we were able to make those happen, and everyone was safe and nobody got hurt or sick or anything, and it just all went really great and so much fun. Yeah.
Who is the dream tour for 2023? If you could pick any band to go out with the pauses, who would you grab?
Oh my goodness. Like opening for someone or just anybody?
Or have them open for you. Who cares?
Oh man. I mean, I think I have a couple ideas. One of the bands that we had the most fun with touring with was Built to Spill. It was just such a dream, getting to play with one of your all-time favorite bands and hearing that. We did the Keep It Like a Secret anniversary tour, and hearing those songs every night was just a dream. So
that had to have been so cool, man.
Just surreal, and they're all such lovely people too. Doug Marsh, just a great guy, and I don't know. I would go back out with Built to Spill. And Jawbox. We love Jawbox so much too. It just anybody who's nice and has, good music is great.
It sounds like the next Pauses record is at least mostly written. Are we hoping to have something out in 2023, or are we shooting for maybe further out?
I mean, it's so hard to say, with like trying to find support and help. And then, with the turnaround time for things, we'd love to record. That's our, small goal. So finish writing and record. It's kind of a waiting game after that.
Is the temptation to just throw something up on Bandcamp and get immediate gratification and not have to wait the 16 months for the record pressing plant? Does that tempt you at all?
We're pretty patient about, waiting to have the full representation of something. Like, that's pretty important to us. I know that some people do release digitally first, but I would think they at least have an idea when the vinyl's coming out. But yeah, for us, we're willing to wait to make sure it's all good.
I'm dying to see the Cate Blanchett movie.
Tar. Yeah, that's on my list as well. Yeah,
I would watch her do anything.
She's incredible. Yeah, she was in a film that I saw. I think it was earlier this year called Nightmare Alley. That I really loved. If you haven't seen that, she's amazing in it. Yeah.
Did you ever see her in the Bob Dylan movie where she played Bob Dylan? I can't remember the name of the movie.
Oh no, I need to see that. Yeah.
Is
she awesome?
Yeah.
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 She's incredible.
Tierney, this was super fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I had such a great time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, and say bye to your doggy for me.
That's Rufus right here.
Yeah.
Oh, Rufus. Hi, Rufus.
Say goodnight, Fitz.
This is Arrow.
Arrow?
Yeah.
What do we got? A little Yorkie?
She's a Bichon Chihuahua mix.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of looks more like a Westie, I guess.
That's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Westie. Yep.
But a little bit Yorkie, yeah.
What's she licking? What's her scratching or what's
She's got this like it was like a little wart. She has like Gainesville, there's like a lot of dust and pollen and stuff that she just like collects, so her allergies are pretty bad here.
I gotta pay for medicine every month for him.
Yeah, the Apoquil.
That's exactly it.
Yep. Her too. Yep. Oh, well, thanks so much. Nice to meet you all. And I look forward to the podcast coming out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Many thanks to Tierney Tough.
Our theme song is Rocket Sled by Blip. Abandoned Albums was recorded at Thunderlove Studios.
Written and produced by Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun.
Engineered and mixed by Steve Beasley with the help of Mike Hunt. Edited by AJ Royce.
The songs you heard during this podcast were Off You, Digital Detox, The Best for the Most for the Least, The Means, and The Beginnings of Things. You can stream the pauses wherever you stream your favorite music, and be sure to check them out on Bandcamp.
Original music by Mike Pellegrino.
If you like what you've heard, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating. It really does help. Thanks for listening.
At Twitter, we are at Abandon Albums, and on Instagram, we are at Abandon_albums.
Grazie. Bailey Leaf. Rob Janicki. Mike Pellegrino. Therina Vella. Ronnie Barnett. S.W. Loudon. Michael Janicki. Peyton Janicki. And our executive producer,
Rufus Thunderlove.
And now, until we meet again next time, I remain as always obediently yours.
Abandoned Albums is a production of Paw Print Media.